All right, so in this lesson, we're going to continue our work on numbers and algebra skills, and we've been working on the distributive law. So today we're going to look at expanding and simplifying. So what we want to be able to do is use the distributive property or the distributive law that we talked about last time to expand expressions that have brackets in them, and then we're going to take it one step further and simplify those expressions by collecting alike terms. Now let's just refresh our memory here on what we mean by like terms, because we talked about this earlier in the course. So up at the top here, you see 6x squared, and you see negative 3x squared. And then you see 3xy and xy. These are all examples of like terms. Okay. Now, when we say like terms, the 6x squared and the negative 3x squared are like terms with each other. And why are they like terms with each other? Well, because they have the same base and the same exponent on that base. And if we had more than one letter in our base, we would have to have the same exponent on all of the variables in our base. So with 6x squared, our base is x. The exponent on that base is to the power of 2, so x squared. Same thing in negative 3x squared. Our base is x. Our exponent is, in our next pair here, we've got 3xy and xy. We've got the same variables here. We've got an x to the 1, a y to the 1, and here we have an x to the 1 and a y to the 1. So same bases, same exponents. Those are like terms. And we could think of other examples of things that were like terms. So we could have something like 4x squared y cubed and negative 7. It has to be x squared y cubed. Okay? As long as we have those same letters in there and the same exponents on those letters, those are going to be like terms. And the reason we were interested in like terms earlier in the course was that if you had a series of like terms that were connected by addition or subtraction, we could collect them together, or we could combine like terms. So if we have an expression here, in our example here of 6x squared plus 3xy minus 3x squared plus xy, first we want to identify the like terms. So we know that 6x squared and negative 3x squared are the like terms. And we have another set of like terms in there. We have 3xy and xy. And our next step here is we're going to move these like terms together so that they are nice and lined up here. This is an optional step. But remember, as we move them, we're going to move those signs along with it. So that negative 3x squared stays as a negative 3x squared. This positive 3xy stays as a positive 3xy, and that positive xy stays as a positive xy. And then we can combine our like terms together by adding or subtracting the coefficients as is appropriate, and keeping that variable part, or that part that makes them like terms, exactly the same. So if I have 6x squared minus 3x squared right here, if I have 6x squared and I take away 3x squared, I'm going to be left with 3x squared. I subtract the coefficients, 6 minus 3, and I keep the x squared part exactly the same. Similarly, if I've got my 3xy plus xy, if I've got 3xy's and I add another xy, I now have 4xy's. Okay, so I've added those coefficients. I didn't see that coefficient of 1 in here. I just noticed sort of assume it. 3 plus 1 gives me 4. The xy part stays exactly the same. So we're going to combine this idea of combining like terms or collecting like terms with the work that we did yesterday on the distributive property. So if we see some expressions involving brackets, like we have here, we can expand and simplify. The expand just means apply the distributive property to the brackets. Take everything inside the brackets, multiply it by that thing in front of the brackets. And simplify means to collect our like terms. So let's take a look at our first one here. We've got 2x times 3x plus 1. Our distributive property is going to involve multiplying the 2x by 3x and the 2x times the 1. So we're going to have, just to write it all out, 2x times 3x plus 2x plus times 1, plus 1 times 1. We're going to do the same thing with our second bracket. That 3 gets multiplied by the x squared. That 3 gets multiplied by the negative 5x. So this is going to become 3 times x squared, and then 3 times negative 5x. Now we can do our multiplications. 2x times 3x. 2 times 3 gives us a 6. X times x gives us x squared. 2x times 1 is just going to be 2x. And it's plus 2x because I have a plus sign on the front there. 3x times x squared, 3x squared. And then 3 times negative 5x is going to give us negative 15x. Okay? Positive times a negative gives us a negative. Now we look at this and see if we have any like terms. I've got a 6x squared here, I've got a 3x squared here, I've got a 2x, and I've got a negative 15x. So let's combine those like terms together. I'll add in this step where we rewrite them next to each other. Remember that stays as a negative 15x. 6x squared plus 3x squared, I'm going to add my coefficients to get 9x squared. 2x minus 15x, let's see, 2 minus 15, negative 13x. Okay. So I've expanded by multiplying the brackets, and then I have simplified. All right, let's take a look at another example here. I'm going to bring this guy down here, and I'm just going to give ourselves a little bit more room. On your page, they're one on top of each other, but they'll still be side by side. But we'll just give ourselves a bit more space here. Okay. So 3x times x cubed plus 4x minus 7 minus 2x squared minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay. So same thing as before. We're going to expand. Okay. By taking everything inside the brackets and multiplying by that term out in front of the brackets. So 3x times x cubed is going to give me 3x. I have x's and x's. I have to add the exponents. 3x to the power of 4. 3x times 4x. 3 times 4 gives me 12. X times x gives me x squared. 3x times negative 7. Negative 21x. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And we just have the x. All right, our second term here, or our second expression, we're going to do a negative 2x squared times negative 3x squared. So let's see. Negative 2 times negative 3 is going to be positive 6. X squared times x squared. We know it's x. We're going to add the exponents to get 6x to the power of 4. Next, we're going to do that negative 2x squared times 4x. So negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. X squared times x. Let's see, x squared plus another x is going to be x cubed. Okay? Because we remember we imagine that exponent one right there. And then finally, we're going to take our negative 2x squared and multiply it by negative 5. Negative 2 times negative 5 is going to give us positive 10. X squared is going to have an x squared. Then we want to identify our like terms. So we've got 3x to the power of 4, 6x to the power of 4. So those are like terms. We've got a 12x squared, and we've got a 10x squared. And then we've got a negative 21x and a negative 8x cubed. Those don't match up with anything else, so those are not going to be like terms. So let's combine our like terms together. Our 3x to the power of 4 plus our 6x to the power of 4 is going to give us 9x to the power of 4. Let's just keep that 12x squared matches up with our 10x squared. So 12 plus 10 is 22. x squared, then our minus 21x, and our minus 8x cubed to finish it off. All right. Let's take a look at our next example here. We've got 2 times 3y minus 6 minus 5y times 2y minus 4. Okay. Let's write out all the steps in this. So 2 times 3y is going to give us 2 times 3y plus 2 times negative 6, 2 times negative 6. And we always put plus signs in between. So plus, let's see, what do we have for our next one? We have negative 5y times 2y. So negative 5y times 2y. And then negative 5y times negative 4. Need that plus sign in between. Negative 5y times the negative 4. Let's move this out of the way. All right, let's do our multiplication here. 2 times 3y, 6y. 2 times negative 6, negative 12. Negative 5y times 2y. Let's see, negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Y times y is y squared. And then negative 5y times negative 4. Negative 5 times negative 4. Two negatives give us a positive. And we're left with a y. Do we have any like terms here? Well, we have a negative 6y, and we have a 20y, so those two we can combine together. 6y plus 20y is 26y, and everything else just stays exactly the same. All right, we'll do one last example, and then you guys can get to work here. So 3x times x squared plus 5x minus 4. All right. Remember, we're going to expand each one of these things like this. So we're going to have 3x times x squared plus 3x times 5x plus 3x times negative 4. We've got to do the same thing with our second term here. Remember, with our second one, it's going to be a negative 2 here. So it's going to be negative 2 times x cubed, negative 2 times negative 3x squared, negative 2 times negative 6. So negative 2 times x cubed, negative 2, I forgot my plus sign in there, plus negative 2 times negative 3x squared plus negative 2 times negative 6. Let's do our multiplication here. So 3x squared times, 3x times x squared, add the exponents, 3x cubed. 3 times 5 is 15, x squared times x. And then 3 times negative 4, negative 12, x. Negative 2 times x cubed is negative 2x cubed. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And we have an x squared. And then finally, negative 2 times negative 6, positive 12. Do we have any like terms? Well, let's see. We've got a 3x cubed and a negative 2x cubed, so those are like terms. We've got a 15x squared and a 6x squared. Those are like terms. And that's all we have. So, combining our like terms. 3x cubed minus 2x cubed. 3 minus 2 is just going to be 1, so that will just be x cubed. 15x squared plus 6x squared. 15 plus 6 is 21. X squared. And then minus 12x and plus 12 stay exactly the same. All right. So you guys can take a look in your green books, unit 1011, we're looking at page B2. There's a number of questions there that you can practice away on. It looks like this. It says expand and simplify up at the top, and it's just asking you to do the same kind of thing that you've been doing here in these examples. So I'll let you work on it.